Hello everyone, this is the Poketheorist, and I'm here with a very popular Pokemon fan theory. This might be one of the most popular fan theories out there, and many people actually believe it. This theory assumes that Cubone is actually an orphan Kangaskhan baby who decided to wear its mother's skull. Now, there is a theory that claims that he is actually an orphan Charmander, though it would be rather strange for a 2-foot Charmander to suddenly shrink during an evolutionary cycle, and there just isn't enough evidence to prove that a fire type could suddenly change into a ground type. So, we're going to look into Kangaskhan. Just by looking at Kangaskhan's child and Cubone, the similarities are very apparent. There are even similarities between Kangaskhan and Marowak. Appearance-wise, Cubone and the baby do have similarities with their bellies, arms, and overall body structure. Kangaskhan and Marowak do have similarities with their stomachs, eyes, and even have spiny tails. Their names even have some similarities, with Cubone and Marowak having boomerang-like qualities to their names, and even having Pokemon cards with Marowak using his bone as a boomerang. Kangaskhan's name is derived from a kangaroo, giving an Australian-like name structure to both Cubone, Marowak, and Kangaskhan. There are very similar physical appearances to their theory, but there is very little evidence supporting this claim. The only thing I could find that was even somewhat close to evidence is the glitch Pokemon known as M, found in the Red and Blue games. When M is leveled up, he can evolve into a Kangaskhan. This leads people to believe that Cubone, Marowak, and Kangaskhan were originally supposed to be an evolutionary line. But the data for the prototype Marowak that was supposed to evolve into a Kangaskhan was placed into an empty slot and became M, which is why M evolves into Kangaskhan. However, there is evidence that disputes this. M is pretty much a copy of Missing Note, with some slight differences. When M evolves, instead of turning into a messed up glitch, the game tries to correct the glitch by replacing M with an already existing Pokemon. Kangaskhan is a common evolution for M, and M can even evolve into a Clefairy. This Clefairy can be evolved into a Clefable with a Moonstone, so it's not like M is still a glitch. But it does succeed in replacing itself with an already existing Pokemon. All on its own, if they didn't want Marowak to evolve into a Kangaskhan, they probably would have removed the code, or hide the code in an area where someone couldn't find it. With a cheating device, this Pokemon would have already been discovered, and people would have at least some evidence to back it up. However, since this is not the case, there is no evidence to back this theory up. People take these reasons and theories as proven fact. I say research it for yourself. Try to find the evidence yourself before believing every theorist on the internet. However, something did pop up in the form of the Pokemon Origin series. In the second episode, it shows a Cubone child who cries over the death of its mother. The mother was, in fact, proven to be a Marowak. This Marowak mother did happen to speak, and it has shown itself to be a fantastic mother. Now, oftentimes, if I do find a theory, and I see some believability within it, I'll try to make up my own theory and rationalize it. Now, let me emphasize again that this is just a theory. This isn't me trying to prove it as a fact. Now, I'd like to cite that a Kangaskhan baby wearing its mother's skull is a very possible way to evolve into a Cubone, though not every orphan child would probably do something like this. So it could be possible that a long time ago, somewhere between 5, 10, maybe even a little more Cubone performed this act, allowing them to become their own species of Pokemon. Once a few of them became a Marowak, breeding came into play, and their numbers rose, whether it be from breeding, or whether it be from wearing their mother's skulls. While many of these newly bred Cubones will not experience the pain of losing their old mother Pokemon Kangaskhan, the lingering of their feelings still come into play. Since breeding doesn't explain these Pokedex entries, the sad feelings will need to be passed down from their parents, allowing the Pokedex entries to still make sense. So, that was my debunking and reworking of the Kangaskhan Cubone theory. Now, if you don't agree with me, it's understandable, but that's just something I like to think of. I'd like to assume that maybe the Marowak and the Cubone family were potentially an old Kangaskhan family, but became their own species. And since the Pokedex entries are pretty odd and strange in some parts, maybe rationalizing it like this would make sense.